All right, so somebody was asking me the other day about like, has anything ever crazy happened with your Christmas light installs? And so I had to chuckle because, as embarrassing as it is, I actually have one really funny story, and I thought I would share that with you guys today. And that is the time that I put up Christmas lights on the wrong house. And so uh, that's a pretty bad mistake. And let me tell you kind of how it went down. So I had a friend, or he was a previous client of another business, and he wanted to have me put Christmas lights up on his house. And so one day while I was in the area, I drove by and just got a quick look at his house, made sure I was kind of right on my estimate. I had already given him an estimate, and then I was kind of second guessing myself, so I drove by just to make sure. And I was like, yeah, okay, I priced it about right. And so, you know, a couple weeks go by, I get my material, I schedule to go over and do this house, and I just had his address, or so I thought, and I knew the area pretty well, so I drove over. I custom fit the lights to his house. So what that means is that, like, you know, I just had this big long spool, and I custom fit them perfectly to fit his house each and every year. It was about a 2 to 3 hour deal, and he had mentioned to me that he might not be home that day. And so I didn't really think much of it. Most of the time we just come put the lights up and send the customer, you know, the estimate or the bill or whatever. They don't always have to be there. A lot of times they're not. And so I didn't really think much of it. I went over, I did the job. It was a tricky house, but it wasn't anything too super complicated. But it was really cold that day. It was windy. And so what I normally do is I'll check the power. Like, first thing I'll do is, like, where I think I'm going to plug them in, I'll test the outlet to make sure that the outlet works there or whatever. However, I got a little cocky and I didn't do it. I just started putting up the lights. So I get done and I go to check the power, and boom, they're not working. I'm like, okay, well, and that happens a lot. A lot of times the GFI is tripped or something, or I have to go reset the breaker. No big deal. So I call him up and I say, hey man, like, I'm here. He's like, you're here? And he's like, yeah. He's like, oh, I'm inside. I'll just come outside. I was like, oh, okay. All right, cool. Even better. So, you know, I'm like waiting for him, you know, thinking maybe he had to like throw a shirt on or, you know, something. And he calls and says, hey man, like, where are you? I was like, what do you mean? I'm here. He's like, no, you're not. He's like, I'm standing in my driveway. You're like not here. And I'm like, yes, I am. And he's like, no, bro, you're not. And then I'm like, what? And like, I'm on the phone, and I literally look like 4 houses down, and he's down the street. Yeah. So the house was the same floor plan, was the same color, just happened to be I switched one of the numbers somehow on the address. And so, like, by my estimation, I was at the right house, but I had wrote down the wrong address. He didn't give me the wrong address. I did it. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, I just did this job. I still have to do his job. And I don't know, this person's not home, knocking on the door, nobody's there. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. So a few days go by, the neighbors tell me like, this guy isn't home very much. I leave like a note, whatever. He calls me up and he's like, hey man, he's laughing. He's like, I'm the guy that owns the house. You put the wrong lights on. And like, my goal was like, hey, you know, I knew what my cost was. I was just gonna like give them to him as a like, just like, you know what, hey man, I'll give them to you for this price. Like, I didn't even make anything. I just didn't lose anything. You got custom lights. And then I'm like, you know, hey, if you want me to put these up next year, I'll give you the price for them, just for me to rehang them. And he was like, man, I'm like, I don't know. He's like, I'm not even here during the holidays as a single guy. He's like, I'm not even here. He's like, I'm never home. And I was just like, hey, like, I get it. Like, no hard feelings. I mean, I can use these lights some other way. And long story short, he didn't end up doing it. So like, even though the cost was down and everything, he's like, nah, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. So you're gonna have to take them down. And so, you know, the awesome thing about it was, though, he did actually offer me a job. He was a high up with FedEx, and he offered me a position based off of just my work ethic and my professionalism and like admitting the issue and kind of clearing up how it happened. And I think just my hustle in general is what he said. I mean, you got a hustle in you that like, he's like, not a lot of people have. He's like, I would love to try to get you to work for me if you have that kind of a work ethic. And so at the time I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, you never know. Let me find out what this job pays and what I'll be doing and yada yada. And it ended up being my thing. But it's just one of those things that I'll never forget. I know that I've only done it one time, but I always check the addresses now and make sure that I don't do that, let that ever happen again. But it was a funny story now. It's really, really sucked at the time, but it's, at least I didn't damage anything or anything. Somebody just almost got free lights. So anyways, that's my most embarrassing Christmas light story that I have to date. Hopefully it's my last. Hey, subscribe, hit that bell, and you know what to do. Follow me for more information, more content on Christmas lights. Helps a lot. Hope you guys are doing well. Catch you guys in the next video.